How to deal with a hoarder tenant. A hoarder tenant can be a challenge to manage. They are generally identified when property managers conduct property inspections on behalf of the landlord. It can be quite a stressful experience for all parties involved. In this podcast, we highlight some important points that can be adopted to protect your investment property without infringing the personal rights of your tenant. Firstly, it's important to acknowledge that hoarding is a type of mental disorder and should be dealt with delicately and with great respect. So first up, hoarding is deemed a mental disorder. According to Anxiety Australia, hoarding is definitely a mental health disorder. A compulsive hoarder meets the definition of a disability. Hoarding is recognised as a mental disorder which substantially limits a person's major life activities. For this reason, dealing with a hoarder tenant requires empathy. But for many landlords, this can be quite stressful if you are unaware of the health risks the tenant may be encountering. How to deal with that hoarder tenant? There are many things that can be done when dealing with a hoarder tenant. However, all cases differ and dealing with it depends on their behaviour. You can evict a tenant for being a compulsive hoarder, but you can consider other grounds for eviction. It comes down to your lease agreement, but here are a few potential reasons you can evict a tenant. Is the tenant damaging your property? Is the tenant storing dangerous goods such as explosive items? Are they housing livestock illegally, or do they have pets that are illegal? Is the tenant blocking emergency exits? Damaging the property may be the most common ground for eviction for a compulsive hoarder. However, there may be other actions that are grounds for eviction. As mentioned earlier, the situation's delicate. How do you distinguish an extremely messy person to a hoarder tenant? It's important that you engage a property manager when leasing your property. They'll have greater experience, they'll have an arm's length approach, and have a better understanding of the laws protecting both landlord and tenant. The property manager will document and record all the events appropriately, but as a landlord, you could look to offer some help with commercial cleaning or offer counselling. If the tenant meets the criteria of being evicted, perhaps providing some form of notice so that they can fix the property and find a new home to occupy. If the situation is difficult to manage through your property manager, perhaps consider engaging a lawyer. This may cost more money, but if the situation requires it, it may be your last resort. As property advisors, we source brand new and off-the-plan properties for buyers. Investors sometimes consider replacing a property manager and perform the role themselves to save on costs. When problematic situations like this occur, this is when you want to experience professional advice on your side. We have great relationships with many property managers and would welcome the opportunity to introduce one to you. We also encourage you to read our other market insights on is it worth replacing yourself as a property manager, or what does a property manager look for in a tenant? There's many pieces of information on our website that can certainly teach you a lot more about what you're looking for and how to manage your investment property better. If you go to our website at www.crestproperty.net.au and go to the area in the section called Market Insights or Podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you soon.